when you dropped out of the presidential race, you endorsed Joe Biden, and you got a lot of shit for that. And I was fascinated by
I do remember that.
I mean, I was fascinated by the response of how people felt betrayed by the fact that you had endorsed Joe Biden. Well, I mean, what was that experience like for you to have some of your supporters turn on you?
You know, I spent a full day or so just responding to people, being like, "Hey, I understand why you're angry," like, because I appreciate everyone who supported me a great deal, and you know, if they disagreed with my my opinion or judgment or decision at that time, I just wanted to try and explain. And in my case too, Joe called me and asked me for my endorsement, and I essentially I was like, look, I kind of want to let this process play out, and then I endorsed him when, to me, he was going to be the nominee, and I was like, all right, like I should do what I can to unify the party,
right,
and bring us together. So I understood where people were coming from, and I tried to address it, and hopefully over the past number of days and weeks, like, you know, more people have come to understand like the situation we're in, and you know, like hopefully they're going to support Joe, because to me it's Joe or Trump. And but I get it, because I was a Berner. I like Bernie a lot, and Bernie was right about so much. And so if someone was like, "Fuck you, Yang," like, you know, like you like endorsed the wrong guy, I'd be like, I totally get it, because like I love Bernie too, and like, you know,
at that point he had pretty much had no chance of winning.
It was
I am the math guy. I saw the math, and I was like, this is not going to happen, because you know, I'll put it in, you know, actual terms. He needed to win Michigan in a significant way to have a chance, and he did not. And then I was like, this shit's over. Like, you know, because he like won Michigan last time. So like you saw, you know, like if he didn't win it this time against Joe, it was like, you know, there was no path.
Yeah.
What is it like to get a call from Joe Biden asking for your endorsement? What does he say to you?
He calls. I mean, he's Joe, so he's like, hey pal, like, you know, how are you, like, you know, like how's the family? Like, you know, we make small talk for a little bit, and then he's like, hey, could really use your support. Like we need you. So.
And you told him, let's hold on. That's pretty epic.
I will say this, and this is something that. So there are folks who are running who are politicians, and some would take that as a pejorative, and I use it as a pejorative or like a negative term myself sometimes, like, politicians, you know, because I don't really consider myself much of a politician. But there is something to be said for folks who are effective at reaching out and like calling and whatnot. And Joe's one of those people. Joe's like a bridge builder and relationship builder. So, you know, and I have to say, like, when you get that phone call, like it does make you like more likely to want to help the person.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh shit, you know, because you're a human being, and like the human being calls you and is like, hey, you want to help? It'd be like, you know, you feel like a bit of an asshole being like, no, sorry, I can't do it. So
it's kind of amazing from 1 or 2 years ago from where you were to getting a call from the vice president asking for your support.
And I'll say, like, you know, Joe called me more than once too, you know, so it's not even like there's like,
you have his number? You have his cell number?
So Joe's not really the texting type.
How does it go? Does the call come from like, I've got Joe, I've got the vice president on the phone for you?
In his case, it's like, I've got the vice president for you, kind of thing. Yeah, in that sense. Some of the other candidates, you know, we actually do text, like we've got each other's cell phone numbers. But Joe, you know, like Joe,
he's
and I
old
never
school.
Traded numbers. Yeah, it's like, you know, he had like the
once
the
you've
team.
been,
But I did get it, and you're right too that like the ascent was you know, very dramatic and rapid. Again, largely thanks to people like you and Gila who understood the problems I was trying to solve and like the approach I was taking, and had like the vision. I mean, I super appreciative to both of you, because you're so human, and there's something about some of the roles that we all have where. And you know, so, you know, you remember your office job in Israel and whatnot, and like you weren't being paid to be like ultra human. At that time, you were being paid to like do whatever the heck the role they needed you to do for X days, and it took people like you getting behind me to get me to a point where I could make a positive difference. It's one reason I'm thrilled to be back with you all because, yeah, well, you know, I mean, I just love and appreciate both of you and feel like we're in a similar boat where you're looking around the world just saying like, is this really where we are? And you know, like, let's try and move in a better direction.